Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Driftwood Ranch. I'm Randy Ray, the literate Texan. Sorry I didn't post any videos yesterday. I meant to, but here, let's do that. Now you can see my mad scientist hair a little better. I meant to, but I wasn't feeling well. I'm barely feeling well today, but here I am anyway. So, I watched a couple of videos from people like Michael K. Vaughn in the Evening Reader and Guilty Feet about literary white whales. And even though it's not a tag, everybody seems to be doing this. So, you know me, I want to fit in. Peer pressure. So here I am with my 4 literary white whales. And here's how Guilty Feet described them in his description of his video. He described them as books that have defeated him and that he knows he has to conquer. Apparently he's started these before and given up on them. So, I have a few of these, okay? And the first one that I'm going to mention here is the Mount of Monte Cristo. No, it's the Count of Monte Cristo. I had a bookmark in it. It just fell out. That's why I looked down just now. Anyway, this is a really cool edition. It is the Barnes & Noble edition. I think I got it for $10. But I don't know how this nice edition was so cheap. It's not, you know, I don't know. It's probably not very sturdy. We're going to find out. Anyway, most people watching this channel will probably have heard of the Count of Monte Cristo. It's about some guy who goes to prison for a crime he didn't commit. So, that's become a popular plot point through the years. I watch The Shawshank Redemption at least once a year, and there's a section in the movie where the main character is in charge of the library, and a younger guy starts reading a little bit, and he suggests the Count of Monte Cristo to the guy. And he says, you'll like this one. So, I don't know. I guess it's inspired a whole genre. I don't know if it's the first one or not, but anyway, pretty lengthy. Looks like this edition here is well over 1,000 pages. But I'm down for an adventure novel that's over 1,000 pages. So I'm going to try to read this one this year, but I don't know which month I'm going to get to it because I've got some other stuff lined up before then, okay? And one of those is, and I know when I'm going to read this next one, okay? And this is another one that I've started and never finished. And again, it's just because of the size. But this one's a little smaller. It's only 850 pages in the edition that I have. This is Lonesome Dove, and I know when I'm going to read this because I'm going to read it during June on the Range, which is literally 2.5 weeks away now. So, who's not excited about June on the Range? I love Westerns, movies, and books. So, anyway, everybody's heard of Lonesome Dove, too. I could have just as easily put that Cormac McCarthy book in here, the Blood Meridian, but I don't know if I'm ever going to read Blood Meridian all the way through. That one's defeated me twice now. So, I have a feeling that Larry McMurtry's style is a little more my speed. And of course, you know, you can't talk about literary white whales without talking about Moby Dick, right? And I've got this beautiful Norton Critical Edition here. And this is another one that I've started 2 or 3 times that I really liked and was really enjoying. And for whatever reason, I guess I saw something shiny, got distracted, wandered away from it. So I'm looking forward to reading this one. And of course, anytime I think of Moby Dick, it reminds me of one of my all-time favorite movies that isn't The Shawshank Redemption. And that all-time favorite movie is Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. And I don't know when I was old enough to realize that, you know, the whole revenge plot and Khan being nuts was a reference to Moby Dick. But I think it's cool. So, all right. So I've got one more. And this one's a little trickier because I have an edition that collects all the books in one. It's called the Illuminatus Trilogy by Robert Shea and Robert Anton Wilson. And this is a work of postmodern fiction from the 1970s about conspiracies. And it has multiple unreliable narrators, point of view shifts throughout. I got really confused about it and gave up a few times. But I mean, you could consider this actually 3 books. But even then, the part 1, part 2, and part 3, some of those are divided into 2 books. Sort of like the Lord of the Rings, okay? So the Lord of the Rings, you know, there's the Fellowship of the Ring, the Two Towers, the Return of the King. But each of those books is also divided into two. So is it 3 books? Is it 6 books? Is it one long book? Tolkien thought it was one long book. I don't know how Shay and Wilson felt about this. But one of the reasons that I'm so interested in this was as I was growing up, and I know nobody's going to believe this, but as I was growing up, I was kind of a nerd. I'm going to show this cover here. I don't know if I showed it yet or not. I probably didn't. But I was kind of a nerd, okay? And I know some of you think it was, but at any rate, I was a nerd, and I was into games. And we live near Austin, Texas. And there's a game company down there called Steve Jackson Games, which published this incredibly cool card game. And it might even still be in print, I'm not sure, called Illuminati. And the idea behind the card game is that you're running a secret society, one of the big ones. And your goal, everybody has a victory condition, but it's different. For example, if you're in charge of the gnomes of Zurich, for example, you've got a goal to collect a certain amount of money before the end of the game. And so, anyway, it was just such a fun game, clearly inspired by this trilogy of books, which, you know, to date I've never read. So with any luck, I'm going to get through these sometime this year. I feel confident I'm definitely going to finish Lonesome Dove, because my plan for June on the Range is to just read all 4 of the Lonesome Dove books in order of publication. So surely I'll finish at least the first one, right? But, you know, good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. Anyhow, so anyway, I thought that might be a longer video, but how much can you say about 4 books that you've never read, right? I do have some other literary white whales that aren't specifically individual books, and I thought about doing a video about those, but I do have some goals. I'd like to have read all of Dickens. I'd like to have read all of Shakespeare. And I've read a lot of Dickens. I've read a lot of Shakespeare. I'd like to read a lot of Trollope, Anthony Trollope. And I could have made videos about those, but I thought I'd just go along with kind of how everybody else was doing it, and they picked individual volumes and individual books. So there you have it. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you have a great day. I've got more videos coming out real soon. This weekend, I've got some real special stuff planned, so stay tuned. See you next time.